Good evening, Etch A Sketch artist group. I am on my second take of filming this video because I rambled a lot in the first take and I'm hoping to sound a little more coherent even though I'm very tired. So after an entire career of drill and draining, I finally did it. I finally dismantled an Etch A Sketch. And for me, I consider this a most historic occasion. There's obviously work to be done, but I kind of wanted to explain how I went about doing it and what I will do differently going forward. First off, I will absolutely thank David and Kevin for sharing their methodology over the years. You can see I've got an X-Acto saw here, which was almost the only thing I used to do this entire process so far. I did use an X-Acto knife as well, and I kind of wanted to talk about, what I'm going to do differently next time, but I'm so glad I finally did this. So, backstory, I did this Etch A Sketch over a year ago, I think, at this point. You know, nice Starry Night replica kind of thing. I wanted to find a use for an Etch A Sketch with really thick lines, and I thought that this would be a good use for it. So the problem was, Spin Master made a nightmarish backdrop, and the lines were so thick that you couldn't really not see. This was super clear. That's what I'm trying to say. And I decided months and months ago that this was going to be the first piece that I was going to fully dismantle. So first thing I should have done was get a nice like boxer utility knife, which you've seen if you've seen like Kevin's videos. I managed to do pretty much all of this with just the X-Acto knife, and let me tell you, my right hand is killing me, and I am not exaggerating when I say that I have been sawing for hours. So I know I'm doing it wrong. I know I'm not doing it efficiently. Now, I didn't even use clamps or anything. I will say it took me hours for two reasons. One reason, I was watching something on Netflix the whole time, so it was kind of leisurely sawing. And the second thing, I was very careful, not only to not hurt myself, although there were two times where I nicked my leg, and thank God I didn't break skin, so yeah, that was dumb of me. But I also really wanted to keep the cosmetic condition of the sides of the Etch A Sketch frame intact. In fact, I'm going to kind of zoom in to kind of talk about that a little bit more. So you see some scrape marks here. I did my best to avoid that happening. Now, I have sawed off a frame once before, not dismantled an Etch A Sketch completely, but I have sawed off a frame, and I scratched the heck out of the edges of the Etch A Sketch. So I really wanted to avoid doing that again. So yeah, you could see that I was pretty attentive with this one, but it took eons. I'd like to get some kind of thing to pop off later. In fact, here we go. I have this like staple remover, which very small. I don't like the localized prying because you can see that it causes, let's see if I can zoom in more. You might notice the slight discoloration here. That's where I caused warping in the plastic from when I pried. So I'm trying to avoid that. Now I will have to say that this guy here, let me zoom out, is amazing. This is my like gum scraper. I use this to pop off the remainder of this, but I have to say I was 98% of the way done before I started using this. I was very timid about going in half-baked with trying to pry off that black frame. Now this is a Spin Master Etch A Sketch, probably one of the last versions before the knobs started getting really wonky, so I know things are going to be different going forward. I'm going to have to saw off those knobs. But for this one, I will be able to keep the posts. I am going to remove all the internal components, and I did drill and drain this one before, so that's why it looks pretty empty right now. I know drill and draining is not the best solution. I'm aware that it's not 1000% permanent, and I've done my due diligence to do the best I can to bang the heck out of these Etch A Sketches. But if you notice those little white specks there, those are in fact stray polystyrene beads, despite my best efforts. And I know that both Kevin and David and other full-on preservationists have made a solid point of informing the drill and drainers that it's not the best method, so it is something that going forward I am thinking about doing for the more expensive Etch A Sketch renditions that I sell, which will hopefully include this one, because I just, it's hard for me to keep on justifying drill and drain when I just know that there is ever so minor fading that could occur over time, even with shipping, despite my best efforts. Now all that black stuff you're seeing, it has nothing to do with the aluminum powder. The black stuff is all the plastic from sawing. I am pleased to say that in my manual sawing, not one fleck of plastic has made its way onto the Etch A Sketch screen. I am very pleased about that. But the only damage that did occur, and I can't really zoom in much more, there we go. You'll see in that corner there's a horizontal line that went through that little swoopy circular thing, and it's minor. I don't really care. I'm bummed that it happened, but I was expecting something like that to happen. I can't remove this plastic over the screen, so that's a little bit frustrating. I tried to use a hairdryer. I tried to use a little force, but I didn't want to use too much. You'll notice that they are bent at the corners though. But that glues down really good, and I've decided to keep it on. The only frustrating part about that though is that some of the stray red frame plastic is kind of living under here, and I'm thinking about, it won't show up once I put the red frame on top of it, so I might just leave it as is, clean as best as I can, and kind of call it a day. Now I don't have epoxy. That's a bit of a problem currently. So this will literally just stay on my desk for the next few days. I think it'll be fine, but I will proceed with cleaning this, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem, especially because I already drilled and drained. I can't even find the origin hole on this right now. I think maybe it's right there. Yeah, my hole for drill and draining. Oh, that was stupid of me. I just touched something inside of the Etch A Sketch, forgetting that it's coated in aluminum powder. But anyways, I don't think I'm necessarily a changed woman. I don't know if this will be my preservation method going forward. I need to figure out a better way to do it more quickly for it to actually make sense in my price structure. I think drill and draining is completely sufficient for most of my work. I think that if ever so minor fading does occur, it's not the end of the world. But going forward, for my more expensive works, I can definitely see the allure of actually dismantling. So I'm excited to try out that epoxy. I'm excited to put it all back together. And for some reason, some sick part of me is looking forward to actually cleaning this part too. Maybe because for once, it's not a gross drill and drain experience. So I've rambled long enough. I've said my piece. I look forward to hearing what fellow full-on Etch A Sketch preservationists have to say about this, and I think I'm going to become a hybrid preservationist. I'm going to be a part-time drill and drainer, part-time full-timer, so, I guess, thorough completionist when it comes to, what's the term we use? We say drill and drain, and then what? Just, dismantling? Yeah, a full-on dismantler. That's what I'll say. Okay, it is very late. I'm a little delirious from hours and hours of sawing, so I'm going to wrap this video up, but thanks for watching it if you've been sticking around this whole time.